couple of weeks ago I did this wedding, and we got to the reception part. The sun had gone. There was pretty much no light really around. The reception was in this kind of a barn place that was lit only by candlelight and fairy lights. It was this beautiful space that had there was no ceiling lights. It was just candles, like candles on tables and on windowsills decorating this barn. And when we got to speeches, because I didn't want to use my flash, because I feel like every time we use a flash during someone speaking, I feel like that's distracting and annoying, and you don't really want to shoot a reception like that. You kind of want to be invisible as a photographer. So up until now, I was using this. This is Canon's 100mm 2.8 image stabilized ultrasonic motor L series lens. And so I was using this as my telephoto lens. I don't have a 7200 or any of those really long focal lengths. So this was my longest one. The problem was there was not at all anywhere near enough light from candles on tables to be getting good photos of people speaking, giving speeches. So it was really hard. I had to drop shutter speed way down, way lower than I would normally, and the ISO all the way up. And so that is why I am semi-retiring this lens for this lens. This is Canon's brand new 85mm 1.4 image stabilized ultrasonic L series. The reason I got this, and sort of the reason why I was holding off for so long and just dealing with having a 2.8, was because of the price tag on this thing. It is quite expensive, and there are some reasons I picked this one over cheaper alternatives, which I'll go into in a bit. Firstly, a really brief overview of this lens. It is quite heavy. It feels like, you know, a lead weight, but it's still lighter than I would say the Sigma version. It is the image stabilized one. Canon don't offer any in-camera stabilization yet, but put a image stabilized lens on a Canon camera plus a bit of warp stabilize or anything like that in Premiere Pro, and you got a winning combo. It's just as good. It's a 1.4 aperture, so the glass lets in a lot of light. As you can see there, you can probably see my face upside down or something. It lets in a lot of light through this big hunk of glass at the front, which means I can keep my shutter speed a bit higher and the ISO a little bit lower, instead of using a 2.8 in the darkest situation you could imagine. So this is going to change the game for me. So far I've only used it for a portrait session and some of the B-roll that I shot for this video. Tonight we are test driving the low light capabilities. I want to really try and stop this all the way down to 1.4 and see how much light we can let in and see the quality that we can get out of this thing. So some of the reasons I didn't pick a cheaper alternative like the Canon 1.8 or the Sigma 1.4 lenses, which are probably just as good, is the Sigma one is enormous. I've tried it a few times. It works really well for photography. The autofocus on the Sigma is about as fast, if not as fast, as this one. However, for video purposes, which I would need it for, the autofocus is very loud. So there's a clicking noise and you can hear the lens trying to focus, and that's just not for me. That's a bit of a red flag for me. This is the Canon ultrasonic motor, which means it is super quiet. You can barely hear it moving in there, if at all, and with a good mic on top or an external mic, can't hear it at all anyway. And the other reason I got this is due to the size, which we've kind of already covered. So there will still be a place for this lens. I'm not going to get rid of this lens. This is still going to stay part of my kit. It is a beautiful prime lens. In ideal lighting conditions, this is a killer. This has an incredibly short focusing distance. It's great for details and for, I guess, product photography. The image stabilization is awesome and it is super sharp. I still love this lens. It's excellent, but this will be taking over quite significantly from that lens for weddings and for low light situations and videos. This definitely trumps the 100mm 2.8 very easily. So yeah, let's go and test it out.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, what did you get again, John?
2 chicken and cheese, no sauce.
No sauce. Was there any sauce, bruh?
No, today was a good day.
I don't really know what kind of joint this is, and it frankly is a little bit frightening. But you know what?
It's a massage parlor.
Little fairy lights are promising.
It definitely says massage.
It says wholesome. Okay, we're gonna real quick test some low light stuff with this 85 and see what it's like in the places where there's not much light, except for these fairy lights. Weep. postulate is some kind of sexual transaction facility.